Anyone who completes training at the camp is sent to a second camp to get more strict training before being sent to fight in Kobani. They tell us that we are going to fight Yazidis and kill them because they are infidels. And if you die, you will go to heaven and they will go to hell.
We were more than 80 Yazidi children at the camp in addition to Muslim children. There were 5-year-old and 6-year-old children up to 15-year-olds. My 15-year-old cousin is still there. Military training included how to use the machine gun, and undisciplined children were punished by leaving them under the sun or lashing them with the hose.
32-year-old Emily Whitehead is due in 7 weeks and plans to get the flu and whooping cough DTaP shots.
We definitely are mindful about vaccinations. I have heard that the whooping cough is a really good one to get.
Doctors previously recommended the 2 vaccines be given weeks apart, but now a new 6-year study in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology finds getting the shots at the same time is just as safe as spacing them out.
Should women be reassured by this?
Oh, definitely.
Study co-author Marlene Lugg says they found no significant increased risk of fever or other adverse effects to the mother or baby.
There was no difference in early birth, in low birth weight, in any of the baby's outcomes.
Research shows moms pass on some immunity to their newborns when they receive the shots late in their pregnancies.
We need to tell pregnant ladies this so that they understand that it's extremely safe and it protects both them and the baby.
For Whitehead, who's having a girl, it eases her mind even more now that flu season has arrived.
A Texas City Council member is hit with a stun gun and arrested in front of his home.
Put your hands behind your back.
Jonathan Miller's encounter with 2 Prairie View police officers on Thursday caught on tape.
I was being arrested for I didn't know what. I didn't know how I was interfering. I didn't think I was interfering. When he asked me to step back, I stepped back.
Police say they were questioning 4 men outside Miller's apartment about suspicious activity in the neighborhood and that Miller was interfering in their investigation. But Miller, one of the newest members of the city council, says he was vouching for his friends who were doing nothing wrong.
Just concern for my friends. That's all it was. And that's all it should have been.
Prairie View is the same Texas town where police arrested Sandra Bland in July, a case that attracted widespread attention after dashcam video showed how a traffic stop quickly escalated. Bland was taken into custody and later died in jail. Prairie View's police chief says they've turned over the evidence to the Waller County District Attorney for review.
At this point, we're still doing our internal review to look at our policies to make sure that we did what we should do and identify any deficiencies and again make any changes that are necessary.
Johnson says the department has a taser policy consistent with other Texas police departments, but another city council member says an external investigation is needed.
We haven't been briefed. I'm getting what I get from social media, from television, from the news camera. This happened Thursday night. We're on the city council, nothing.
Miller says he's still processing what happened.
Disappointed, very disappointed.
The city council will take up Miller's arrest in a closed session later this week. John Moan, Associated Press, Prairie View, Texas.
A new law in California requires crisis pregnancy centers to tell women about the availability of low-cost abortions. Joining us now is Kristen Hawkins of Students for Life. Kristen, this is the first law of its kind. What's going on here?
Well, essentially, the state of California has said that if you're pro-life, you no longer have the freedom of speech. And that's what this really boils down to. Regardless of how you may view abortion, whether you think it should be legal or not, the state of California is now forcing pro-lifers, forcing men and women who dedicate their most precious asset, their time, volunteering to help women and men facing these unplanned crisis pregnancies, and now they have to go and are being forced to talk about abortion, being forced to tell women and men where they can receive free abortions, even if it's against their own religious beliefs. This is just an outright violation of the Constitution.
Amazing, because since most pro-lifers are Christians, this does affect their freedom of religion, as you say.
That's exactly right. This is freedom of speech. This is freedom of religion. It's just simply outrageous. But you know what? What's really, the good takeaway from this is it shows how scared they are of us. When you think about the abortion industry, they're a business at the bottom level. That's exactly what they do. It's abortion no matter what. And they know that every crisis pregnancy center out there, every women's center that helps women, gives them truly free health care without providing abortions, is taking money out of their pocket. And they're afraid. So what they did was they had their cronies in Sacramento, California, people that they paid to help get elected, pass a bill that's going to pad their wallets.
Amazing. Well, are abortion clinics required to tell women about alternatives to abortion?
Not in California. In some states, we have the 72-hour waiting law that does require states to provide other information, but not in California.
Coming from this perspective of religious equality, and if we don't see the 10 Commandments, the Day of Pentecost, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity being taught as the representation of, or an accurate representation of Christianity, then why are we seeing in detail teaching on the doctrine of Islam? And it just concerns me that we're going into great detail on the Muslim religion when Christianity has been pushed to the side.
This is video of Operation Cross Country, a child sex trafficking sting in Detroit where 12 pimps were taken down, say the FBI.
We were actually able to recover 19 juveniles over our 5-day period.
The teens, all girls, as young as 13, as old as 17. Watch as FBI agents and state police execute a search warrant at this Detroit home with guns drawn, and then arrest this woman at a Quality Inn hotel in the city.
Here in Detroit, we're known as both a destination city where people come to participate in these types of activities, as well as it's an area where exploiters come to exploit our children and recruit them into the sex trade.
The undercover operation led by the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children ran for about 5 days earlier this month and involved several state and local agencies.
The nation as a whole recovered 153 juveniles throughout the United States, I believe. Detroit metro area came in second with 19 child victims, and Denver came in at first with 20. The efforts that were really shown here during the Operation Cross Country came out with a great partnership that we have with Michigan State Police and the partnership we have through the Southeast Michigan Crimes Against Children Task Force. And I think it really showed true that all of our partners really showed up and did a phenomenal job.
The task force says this is just the beginning. Lengthier investigations and more crackdowns are ahead.
Multiple sources confirming this information for us. This doctor is an OB/GYN, and when officers from West Bloomfield executed a search warrant on his car, they found several these jars, lab containers this size and even larger, inside believed to be human tissue, possibly even fetuses. So the question for officers tonight is, was this doctor performing illegal abortions?
I'd like to say that nothing surprises me anymore, but this would be a very bizarre circumstance.
It started with a car pedestrian accident here on 14 Mile, just west of the new roundabout at Orchard Lake 2 weeks ago. A doctor behind the wheel. Sources say he was not under the influence, but because the special needs child who was hit was critical, the doctor's car was impounded. Then last week, a search warrant was used to obtain the black box data recorder inside the car, along with these startling finds. 14 plastic containers of human tissue, medical equipment that could be used for procedures, and in the passenger compartment, a large amount of fentanyl, a drug used for pain and sedation. Bill Kowalski is a retired FBI agent who now works for the Raymond Group in Troy.
My first concern is where did they come from, and is there any plausible legitimacy?
Sources say the containers had no labels, no medical records were found in the car. One possible working theory was the doctor performing illegal abortions or doing something else nefarious.
With the focus on Planned Parenthood and the possible selling of fetal tissue and some other matters that have gone on here too, this is a high-profile matter. And obviously a concern for the public.
A New York couple has been charged with the beating of their 19-year-old son to death and severely injuring a 17-year-old son. Bruce and Deborah Leonard appeared in court Tuesday, charged with first-degree manslaughter. Police say the attack occurred inside the Word of Life Church in New Hartford, New York, which is about 80 miles from Albany. 4 fellow church members have also been charged with assault. The 6 defendants were arraigned Tuesday. All pleaded not guilty. Bail for the Leonards was set at $100,000 apiece. Details about the attack or what may have led up to it haven't been disclosed, but police say there could be more arrests as the investigation continues. A preliminary hearing for all 6 is scheduled for Friday.
My name is Robert Hall.
This video, which authorities in the Philippines have been trying to verify, purportedly shows 2 Canadians, Robert Hall, who's speaking, and John Ridsdale, who's next to him, plus 2 other hostages who were abducted from a southern Philippine resort last month.
My name is John Ridsdale. I confirm we were taken captive from the Ocean View Marina in Samal Island in Davao.
The kidnappers don't identify themselves on the video, but authorities suspect they belong to the Islamic group Abu Sayyaf because the group has carried out kidnappings and posted these sorts of videos before.
Our primordial concern is the safety of the kidnapped victims, as well as those of our troops and police officers on the ground.
The hostages, who appear to be speaking under duress, urge the Canadian and Philippine governments to stop all military actions against the militants, especially artillery fire.
Please stop all of these operations so that negotiations can start about their demands.
I delivered a message. After one of the masked gunmen read a statement calling for a halt to the government's military operations, the video ends with the kidnappers shouting, "God is great." A Philippine brigadier general said the military would reject the militants' demands.
I'm okay, but I'm in grave danger.